Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of June 10th through the 14th. I will go over price targets, have your gap recap from the week of June 3rd through the 7th, and also update the chart. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is SLB. We ended the week at $44.55, up 2.04%. This is where we are. To the north side takes us to one level of resistance and a potential take profit area at 44.91. 45.26, 45.64. To the south side, back at support and a potential buy-in area, 44.20, 43.49, 43.13, and roughly, let me move this out of the way, 42.76. Looking left, a gap developed in the beginning of the week, and fortunately it touched and closed out, so we will no longer be tracking this. Closed out on Friday to the upside at 44.01. And note, last week we started here, fell all the way down to this low point, and that is your buy signal. And now we're at 44.55. So from that point, roughly to about here, the high is a 4.47% return. Let's move on to CVS. I'm going to try to make this quick because my last video ended up being 30 minutes and they range between 30 and 50, and I want to keep this short. This one is CVS. We ended the week at 61.78, up 1.38%. This is where we are. To the north side takes us to resistance and potential take profit area, 62.10, 62.42, and roughly 62.73. Back at support, 61.49, 60.89, 60.59, and 60.28. Looking left, no gaps, no big gaps were created. I don't even see a tiny one, but this is where we ended last week, and now we are here. The gap that I want to show you that we are targeting is this one. Oops. Well, let me clean that up. Sometimes you have to move, let me move this one out of the way. So this gap is still in play to the upside at 67.70. We are not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close to get to this area, but something to keep in mind. And to the south side, this gap closed right here as well from the previous week. And you know what I forgot to do is look at Schlumberger's gap to the south side. Nothing I'm tracking right now. And this is the gap we are tracking to the upside. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. This thing's going to whip us around to get to this point. But the 1-year price target is 66.36. So keep that in mind. That is a long ways off. Intel is the next one. I am in this trade for my mom. First, your price targets. To the north side, 30.97, 31.15, 31.32. To the south side, back at support and the baseline and the middle of the trend, 30.62, 30, let me move this, let's just move this down here again. So -2 is 30.27, 30.09, and -4 is roughly 29.92. Looking left, this gap developed last week and also closed out, and that was to the upside at 30.65 roughly. This gap is still in play. Or no, it's not. I'm sorry. it touched right here. It's hard to see because this line is in the way. Here. And then we hit resistance. And what happens at resistance? You know exactly what happens. Buy in right here, back at support. Run up to the sell area. Clear buy and sell signals when you play these lines, depending upon your goal. So the next gap I will be tracking to the upside that I've been tracking for quite some time is this little guy, starting at 31.95, closing out at 34.95. And I have no idea when it's going to touch yet. So I just drag this out, and then that's why I have to update the chart. This is my old buy line. This is for my mom. Next one is Nike. We ended the week at 96.55, up 0.87%. Ignore all the white lines and the yellow lines. Those are previous support and resistance that I have not cleaned up. To the north side takes us to resistance from where we are and back at the middle of the trend, 97.23, 98.49, 99.15, 99.80. To the south side and at support, 95.92, 95.25, and 94.61. Note the sell-off at resistance, buy in at support. So looking left, we have this gap that I'm tracking to the upside at $100.87. And the week I'm looking at starts here, ends here, and potentially, it appears, if we keep our momentum, it could hit, well, it could definitely hit, well, here, but closing out this gap, maybe Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, if we continue to go up. That would be amazing. And what goes up must come down, so watch out for all these landmines to the south side. We are not in that channel, not in the zone, just something to be aware of. We are going farther away from these landmines because we are in an upward channel, but we can reverse at any time. That's why it's important to set a stop loss, which I'm terrible at. The next one is HYG. We ended the week at 76.89, down 0.26%. To the north side takes us to roughly 76.96. This gap fills to the upside at 77.09, 77.18, 77.29, and 77.40. To the south side, resistance, 76.74, another area of resistance, 76.63, 76.52. Looking left, this gap to the south side is still in play, taking us down to 76.58. We are in a downward channel, and this gap touched last week, so I'm cleaning this up. And I think we touched maybe right there. I have to move this thing out of the way. So we touched yeah, we touched right on this green line. Okay, so that is done. No longer a threat to our account to the south side at 76.86. That's done. Now, what is going on with this gap? So we gapped down. So I anticipate a gap to the upside when we fill, and we touched right here on Wednesday. So this is Monday coming out of the gate. Let me fix this little bit. There. So out of the gate, we gapped down. So then we, again, will fill it to the upside. That's done. That's done. And let's look at this one. That's a carryover. Okay. This one is still in play to the upside at 77.26. And this little guy, what happened here? Oh, we touched this little baby one right there. So this is no longer a threat to the south side at 76.96. So we have two gaps to the upside whenever we reverse course, but this gap takes us down, and that's all I'm tracking. Oh, there's another, oops, Command Z to reset that. This gap to the upside, taking us to 77.75. Tesla. We ended the week at, let me move this again. $177.48, basically at the middle of the trend, but to be a little bit more precise, $177.88, $180.37, $181.72, and $183.04. To the south side, support, $175.24, support, $173.95, $172.63. Many other levels of support between -2 and 2. Turn on your VWAP, your Bollinger Bands, your trend lines, draw out your head and shoulders, your teacup and handle, which I can never identify. I'm horrible at those things, and I don't play it. I don't play the SMAs. I don't play the 200, none of that. There are many ways to skin a cat, as they say. That's why it's important you develop a style that works for you. Now, I'm not going to ignore a 200 moving average, and that's a buy signal if you get down to that level. If you're trolling, I like that, but other people can point it out to me, and then I'll take a look at it. All right, so no new gaps, I should say, that I was tracking. So we've got a gap I am tracking that will take us to 186.26 whenever we fill, and then this gap to the upside at 193.40. I don't look at double tops, double bottoms, triple bottoms. I mean, I just play the price action within this chart, and it just tells me when to buy and when to sell and what I can anticipate. It's just very clear to me. I know people don't like to hear that. That's why I don't have any subscribers. But that's okay, it works for me. All right, 215 to the upside. Look at all these gaps. I mean, Tesla tanked. And we've got so many gaps to fill to the upside. Whenever we do, it's gonna be a slow grind. This thing will whip you around. Then we've got this gap to the south side, I'm still tracking. That will take us to 144.89. So one gap at a time. Let's move this up. So all day long between -2 and 2 standard deviations. And then the resting spot is the middle of the trend, and we are in an upward channel, but one thing I do like to mark out is my horizontal line. You can call that a trend line or whatever you want to call it. And price could go up to here or make its way here if it's going to go south. And then if it goes south, slowly grinding down. But that remains to be seen for the week. Again, all I'm tracking is from here to here, just a small period in time. The next one is Tesla. So we ended the week at 1478. I am upside down. That's my buy-in line. I've set a sell order, and well, I think I may have, no, I don't know. No, I'm not out of this trade. Yeah, this thing's tanked on me, and that's why it's important to set a sell order to get out so you don't lose everything, but I'm okay with that. 1478, down 0.34%. To the north side, 1503. 1521 and 1540 to the south side. 1467 is a potential buy-in area. 1431, 1413, and 1395. We are in a downward channel still. Looking left, let's look at this gap from this period to this period and check out the gaps. So we have this one to the south side still in play. Look, that could touch, well, it already touched right here, but that will take us down to roughly 1319-ish. And this gap takes us down to roughly 1458-ish here, yeah. So this gap we touched right here. So this is no longer a threat to the south side. And it started at 1472, delete, no longer a threat. Many other threats, just not this one. So that's done. And this one, oops, Command Z. This looks like a weird gap here. From this period to this period. Oh, is that the holiday? That was the holiday. All right, I'll have to fix that. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Yeah, that's correct. Is that one correct? Yep. Just where my lines are. All right. This gap, talking to myself here, is still in play. Hopefully we just flush to the south side, get rid of this gap, be done with it, because that will come to haunt us if we don't. But if you like to go south, the potential is there. Now, what is this one developed last week. All right, and this one will carry us into the week of the 10th through the 14th, taking us to 1521. Then we have this one taking us to 1592, but plenty of other gaps to the upside. But again, I'm just doing one gap at a time. Well, two there actually. All right, and that is a look at Tesla. What happened? Oh, this one, that's just what I was checking out. I'll clean up these other things later. Okay, Boeing. In a nice upward channel, finally reversed here. Let's start with your price targets. I was up 40% a long time ago and didn't take profit, and this is my buy-in for my mom, and finally we're moving away from it to the upside. So now I have to really think what I want to do with this one. 190.24 to the north side, resistance, 191.85. 193.68, 194.61, 195.54 or 53. Excuse me. My allergies are still raging. Something is happening. All right, we are basically at support here. I'm going to anticipate a bounce, 190.29, 189.10, and 188.17. Hopefully no more whistleblowers get killed this week. That would be lovely if they could stop killing off them. The 1-year price target, 214.94, which represents a 12.98% return from where we are, I should say. All right, looking left between this period and this period, this gap closed out. Again, I just extend it from the previous week, so I have no idea where it touches, and it touched right there to the upside at 189.24, delete. Wow, look at this huge tank down here, this wick, 179.06. Now, to the upside, this is the gap I will be looking forward to at 198.51. And what else is going on? All right, that's it for now. Oh wait, this one touched, so let me delete that. What is happening right here? Sometimes this line, nope, we're good, covers things and it's hard to tell. What is going on without removing it? Yeah, see all those gaps? Dash. All right. Let's give you some price targets. To the north side, resistance 114.10, 115.65, 116.36, and 117.13. To the south side, 112.59, 111.84, and 111.06. And this gap, thank you for checking out my public service announcement here. It's time we changed and flipped this board on our next upcoming election. All right, so for this, we started here. This is where we are now. This gap opened up and fortunately closed, so this will no longer haunt us to the south side at 111.34, delete. This one also, we had it open and then it touched as well, so that's done. And from here on this dash, for giggles, what are we at here? To this high point, a 6%, not too shabby for a week. The banks pay a lot worse than that. And then this gap I see right now, let me remove this so I can show it to you. This gap, we gapped up. I will anticipate it to fill down, and it did right here. And then it touched support, and then almost to this line, another level of support. But that's where you potentially see your bounce for another play. And a clear buy signal here. Sometimes it hurts to look down here and think, are we going to go down even more? Yeah, we could. Could we go up? We sure can. People like to buy the dip. So the next gap I will be looking up forward to the upsides is what I meant to say. Will take us to 127.01. That is a long ways off. A lot of trades in between to get us there. So don't be confident that we are just on our way up with just small movements down. No, it could whip us all over the place. And then bad news comes out and boom, you've lost a ton of money. We don't want that to happen. Set your sell limit. All right, for Pfizer, I'm in this one as well for my mom. So 28.58 is where we ended, down 0.76. To the north side, back at support, that is resistance from where we are down here. If we're down here going up, that turns into resistance. If we're up here going down, that turns into support. This again is resistance and potential take profit area. 28.72, 29.02, 29.16, and roughly 29.31. To the south side, support, one level of it, 28.43, 28.28, 28.12. Looking left. So we started here, made our way up, and back down. So this gap is a carryover. I will extend that. Then we had this gap that I forgot to draw out. That was a carryover, and look, it touched right here finally at roughly 29.54. Delete. Delete. The bottom of that was 29.42, so that's done. This whole gap is finished. And then we have this gap, this bigger gap encompassing this smaller gap that will take us to 30.34. Then we had this one develop last week, which will be in play, taking us up to roughly 29.55-ish. Change the color. So I know that's going up. Okay, and looking left, what else do I have? I think I cleaned most of this stuff up. Ooh, we got some nasty ones to the south side there, but not in the channel, not in the zone yet, but let's just extend this for giggles while I'm here. I'll mark it out later. We don't need board members on the board more than 5 years. There always should be a fresh rotation of board members. 22 years is way too long to be on a board. I question anyone who wants to be on a board for 22 years. Disgusting. Okay, I'm done ranting. 177 is where we ended for Tilray, down 1.12%. We are at a key level here, support, so I will anticipate a bounce. And we are in an upward channel still until proven otherwise. 177 here, and this level, that's still 177. Resistance, 179, 182, 183, and roughly 184 to the south side. 176, 175. Looking left. Now, you can't see the gaps here. This is such a tiny, small cap that in order to make it less busy, you want to switch to this. That just makes it nice and smooth, the candlesticks. And then with this one, which is where you see the gaps, when you hit this, it will show. But because this is such a tiny little know-nothing, price-wise, it's hard to see those gaps. All right, but just look at support and resistance, support, bounce, clear. I'm just showing you the clear ones. And what am I looking for? I originally started to track this one for the potential to go up to 212. What's the 1 year price target? 237. So ignore the horizontal lines, previous support and resistance. Next one, SoFi. And I'm in this one. Yeah, we got down to last week. Look at this. 671-ish. Okay, 699 is where we are. Fortunately, we are in an upward channel. So resistance, 704, 712, 716, 720. And move that out of the way. 696, 692, 688. This gap developed last week, so still in play, taking us to 707. And the gap I will be tracking to the upside will take us to 786. And then many other gaps, but we won't talk about that yet. We'll carry on. NIO. To the north side, 493, 501, 509, roughly 477, 461, 453, and 445. Looking left, our low point, by the way, of last week was 474. All right, this gap opened up, this opportunity, that's what I consider a gap to be, an opportunity. That will take us to roughly 528. Unfortunately, this gap takes us down to 413. So we've got some bleeding out to do still, and we are in a downward channel, unfortunately. But some other gaps to be aware of, but I will track that later. Rivian. Our low point for last week was roughly 1075. And then sell, sell, sell signals. To the north side, 1166, 1192, 1206, 1218, 1140, 1126, 1113. All right, this gap is a carryover. Oops. taking us all the way up to 1533. That's many, many moons away, many trades. Okay, and that gap started on basically the 22nd of February. Let me hit Option R to reset this. Oh, yay, that's it. All right, so that is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of June 10th through the 14th. I will try to take a look at some other tickers for you and give you some price targets. But right now, I'm going to end this and go eat something because I'm starved, and I will talk to you later. Have a great trading week.